This meeting is being recorded. It's happening. Yay. All right, everyone. So welcome to our Zoom chat this week. And the topic is why everyone should work with our team, why every buyer should work with our team, which I think is, in my mind, extremely clear, but I realize we don't always articulate that 100%. So I thought we could actually just have an entire session on how we work as a team, how we work with buyers, and why that makes it really awesome to be a buyer working with a lot of the folks you see here on the screen. And this is a good one too. We got a lot of our buyers agents online for this. So you'll be able to see some of the faces. We're going to be introducing people more in the next couple of weeks, but I am Megan Brenn-White. I'm the head of the Upstate Real Estate Team. And I am a licensed associate broker, which just means I took another test, passed salesperson, and we are with Keller Williams, Hudson Valley North in Kingston. So that's all the like official legal stuff. But it's worth saying that Keller Williams, here, I'll find this. Keller Williams is Gary Keller, that founder of Keller Williams, wrote this book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, which is a very misleading title because it actually should have been written How to Build a Real Estate Team and the Structure of a Real Estate Team. And essentially, that's the big part of the reason why I came to Keller Williams is because I knew I wanted to have a team. And they have, I mean, this is literally just a manual of like, how do you grow it? What do you do with buyers? What do you do with sellers? How does admin support people? See? And we're literally just basically following this model. So we make up a lot of stuff, but this model is not something we made up. So I think that's important just to say is that, this is not, there are not that many teams, and there haven't been that many teams in the Hudson Valley and Catskills. And not all teams work, the way this book talks about or the way we work, but the way that we work really is about having everybody specialize. So having everybody specialize in what they really love doing and what they're really good at, or is what, Jen Brown, Chief of Staff, would say, what everybody's superpower is. So, and I'll help for 1 second to say how I think, well, let me introduce everybody. I'll introduce everybody who's here first, and then they can wave and you'll see you can always secretly chat with them too. So on my screen, I have Lee Boxer first. You want to wave, Lee? Lee is up in Leeds, Greene County. So I know everybody travels a ton. So I'm just mentioning where people physically are. Angelica Ferguson is next person on my screen. Angelica is actually the lead buyer agent. So she sort of helps us keep track of everything and works on training and internal coaching. And these are all the things that are actually really important. And Angelica is in New Paltz now, but moving back to Stone Ridge. Stone Ridge, yeah, in the next couple of months. That's exciting. I see Monica Schwarberg here, who's our senior buyer agent. So Monica's been with the team the longest and knocked it out of the park, out of the gate. Is what I'm trying to say. Right away, she did a great job, is what I'm trying to say in plain speak. And Monica lives in Newburgh and also covers a humongous area and is a native Orange County-ite.
Sure.
However you say that. We got Jen Brown, who you can see her cute little picture. I think she's probably doing something. She is the chief of staff on our team, kind of director of operations. So she helps us figure out these structures and our job titles and really, really works to make sure that all of our clients are getting the best service and are getting the right attention and that we're all happy and that we're getting the right training and we're, able to reach our personal goals. And that is a big part of why I think it's good to work with our team as a buyer's agent. Billy Golan, I see next. Billy's in New Paltz, graduate of SUNY New Paltz, but I guess a long time ago, native of Queens, right? So Billy is also covers a humongous area. He is the philosopher in the group, so you can have very deep conversations with him. And then I see Brian is driving. this is like how one sees all of our real, this is actually a good representation of our lives, especially the buyer's agent side. So Brian is based in Eldred in Sullivan County and had been a weekender up kind of until, COVID, and is still sort of a little bit 1 foot in the city, 1 foot up here. And I see John Oliver Pedrito here is not on the video, but John is the transaction coordinator for the buyer's agents, for the buyer's team. So, and that's an incredibly important role. So basically, I'll explain what that is, but John really is the point person from kind of an accepted offer and definitely from contract all the way to closing. So I will explain, I think, 2 seconds about how normally when you work with an agent as a buyer, right? The agent does everything. That's what I did before I started a team. So you call somebody, they help you decide what you're looking for, help you think through areas, help you think through budget, any other considerations. Then they look for houses for you. They show you houses. They help you decide on an offer. They help you negotiate that offer. They go to inspection with you. They help you possibly negotiate that inspection. And then they kind of just keep checking in with the attorneys and the bank and the other agent and everybody else until closing to make sure that all the things that we're not really involved with as real estate agents are still moving forward. Like, has appraisal been ordered? Has title been ordered? Is title in? Are those municipal search in? Like, has the contract been signed? Has the deposit arrived? How are we arranging closing? Did the seller leave that table they said they were going to leave? All of those like logistical things. And then we go to closing. And then hopefully, even with just a solo agent, they will, a lot of them, obviously like be happy to stay in touch with you and help you as, after the closing. So the way that it works with our team is a little different. So also the solo agent has to spend a lot of time generating leads. That's what, and they probably are also a listing agent. So they also at the same time are meeting with sellers. They're doing this, they're putting together market analyses for the sellers, are putting together MLS listings, they're organizing showings of their listings that they have. And one of the real challenges that I found up here is geography. So beyond the fact that I felt like my brain was going to explode as a solo agent, just the geography of where we live here makes it really challenging to do all of those different things, because a lot of times I would have to drive an hour or an hour and a half to a home, and I could not physically be doing a listing appointment and opening a door for an appraisal and also showing 6 houses to a buyer. Not possible. So what we're doing as a team is the leads and I'm a marketing person. So for me, the generating the leads is kind of like second nature. That's sort of breathing. But a lot of people just do cold calls, or they pay to get leads from Zillow and then call them. We try and attract people who will like working with us to our team. Hence, a Zoom call like this. We want to know that we find that when we're open and honest about who we are and how we work, we get clients who are amazing and trust us and want to work with us on the process, which is fantastic. So what we do is the leads come in, and they generally come in through, you might work with our team because you've seen a house of ours that you like. You might work with our team because you just have followed us on Instagram or met somebody or talked to another buyer who's worked with our team. And it comes in, and the first step is always to fill out a little questionnaire. And we have that questionnaire in my LinkedIn profile on Instagram. It says new buyer questionnaire. And that's something that we keep tweaking and we keep updating. And that's really step 1 to why you should work with us, because I think that this questionnaire, I believe is it's not, I know it is intended to be thought-provoking. It's intended to get you thinking. It's not intended to actually give us answers. So that's kind of interesting. It's intended to be the basis for the first discussion, which is a consultation. So we don't take that and go, okay, great, check, mid-century modern, 2 bedrooms, 1,500 square feet. This is all I need to know. What happens is the buyer's agent take that questionnaire, we see it, we try and figure out, and this is Angelica's job actually, who is the best person to be paired with this client coming in. Like maybe it's geography, maybe it's a particular interest of theirs or a particular style of home that they really love. There's all different kind of reasons why somebody might be paired together. Then that agent sets up a call with the buyer and they go through the questionnaire together and often discuss a few homes just as like sample homes to help delve into the things more deeply. So one of the things, like, you know, one of the reasons I think everybody should work with us is that we don't actually just take things at face value. So if somebody says, I want a house that's, it has to be 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it has to be within 10 minutes of Woodstock. Our next question would be, you know, why? Tell me a little bit more about that. You know, why, like, why do you want to be near Woodstock? Okay, you want to be near Woodstock for this reason. Why, you know, why do you need those bedrooms? I got Stewie always here. Why do you need those bedrooms and bathrooms? Why do you want that size of a home? Are you want it to be small on the smaller side because you're concerned about utilities? Do you want it to be on the smaller side because you're concerned about maintenance? Do you want it to be on the smaller side because you just don't like feeling like you're walking around an enormous house? Those are all, each of those answers to somebody saying they want a home that's like, let's say 1,300 square feet could lead us in completely different directions in the search. If someone's trying to save money, we might instead look for low tax areas or homes that will be assessed low. If they say that they just don't want a big house, then we're just looking for a small house. We're not ever going to send them a bigger house. If they say that they just are concerned about maintenance, then there could be something that is, you know, that offsets that maintenance cost. Like maybe there's an inexpensive one that's a little bit bigger, or it has solar panels or something. So, you know, one of the questions that I always love asking is like, what's your ideal weekend look like? I think that's one of them on the phone call. I think that's one of the most telling questions for anybody. Just say, what does a great weekend look like to you? Because from that, you can really figure out, like, honestly, like how important the house is versus the location. And what kind, like, is it somebody who sees themselves reading quietly by a creek? Is it somebody who sees themselves hosting lots of family? Do they need to be able to go out to like get a cup of coffee in the morning from a cute little cafe? Those all lead in completely different areas, totally different areas. And even though we cover 8 counties, that initial discovery phase, which we keep working on. And we talk about, this is the other thing, we're very collaborative, we're very intentional about how we do things. So as a group, we're talking about, do we need different questions in the questionnaire? Is a question clear enough? Is there something coming up in your conversations that's useful? And we share that information. We're 100% collaborative. We're not competitive. And that to me is the most amazing thing, because we're dealing with so many clients and so many offers that we are like this big organism that just keeps like learning and learning and learning and learning. Like, how can we help our clients better? How can we push them to understand more the root causes of what they want and truly desire, you know, that's like some psychological stuff pretty much, you know, and how do we help them get it? And that gets to the point of like, we're looking at a house. Like, first of all, we're going to see houses that you guys aren't going to see. We have off-market exclusive homes that we share with the buyers who are signed up to work with us. That's real. If we have a house, like, we are going to offer every listing that we have pretty much. We're going to look through our pool of buyers first. Now, we just started this a few weeks ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, and we're going to ask and see, does anybody want to see this before it goes on market? To buy something before it goes on market, you generally have to pay a little extra because you're asking the seller to give up the opportunity to put it on the market and have a bidding war. But often that's totally, you know, that's totally worth it. If there's a meeting of the minds, amazing. Like, we didn't used to want to do that, but now increasingly it's so hard for buyers to find great places, and we wanted to be able to give the sellers an opportunity to sell their home in a really clean and easy way, and the buyers to have an opportunity to see homes without having to deal with multiple offer situations. That is a big deal. I would say the other thing that we do is, I would say that when we're searching for homes, we search for them in a specific way. And one of the things that, you know, that again, like with the training within the team, You know, Monica has shown the new agents how she searches. Like Monica and Angelica and I will talk about like, how do we search? Like, how do we find a house? How do we know when there's a house that's a good house for our clients? What are the things that we look for? So we're doing that. Like, it's not like, again, like we're gonna push the boundaries a little bit, because we don't know if somebody says, I have to have 3 bedrooms, but I also it has to be unbelievably charming. It's like, what if we find something that's unbelievably charming with 2 bedrooms plus an office? That's the kind of stuff we would want to get in front of you. We have a whole team of people filling a Slack channel called Houses We Should Sell. So pretty much every day, all of us are looking across a huge area across these 8 counties for any homes that look interesting. And we post it there. So all of us are seeing them. And that's a big deal. Like there are very few brokerages, there are very few agents that literally are like, I'm going to draw a circle around Dutchess, Sullivan, Putnam, Orange, Columbia, Delaware, Greene, Ulster counties, and just see what I can find. And we're looking for things that we're looking for obviously amazing ones, but we're also looking for the ones that may have bad photos, but be in a great location, that may have potential. So we're going to help you. I believe that we will help you define your needs in a really helpful way that is not surface. Then we will help look for homes and be able to put homes in front of you that you wouldn't see otherwise. And then when we're with you, looking at those homes, I mean, not for nothing, it's a pretty fun group of people. So like, I would go house shopping with anybody on my team. Like, I've done it. It's pretty great. So it's like having a really good friend house shopping with you who also has seen a bajillion houses. Even the agents who are newer on our team have seen a lot of houses. We do a lot of transactions, who know what to look for, who are already going to have a very good innate sense of, is this going to go above market? Is this going to go above the asking price? Is this going to trigger a bidding war? What's going here? And we'll also have a good sense, many of us, to be able to say like, oh yeah, you could probably remove this wall, or if you just painted this would look amazing, or think about adding a window here. That's the kind of stuff that we're really good at, is seeing potential and thinking about the potential in terms of actual cost. So then we get to the part where we're structuring an offer. And this is in this market, probably one of the best things to do. So this is where, again, the collaborative nature of the team really helps. So anytime one of us gets an offer accepted, we post it in our happy channel on Slack, which is, like a direct messaging group thing. And in the happy channel, we post, I just got this offer accepted. This is how much it was. This is what I know about the other offers. These were the terms we did. So every time we win something, or, we should have a sad channel too, I guess, technically, to really improve our learnings. But every time we win something, it's not just like, oh yeah, that house was $529. Oh no, we want to know and build up our general knowledge. Okay, did it take $579 to win that house that was $529? You heard from the agent there were 15 offers. Your offer was cash, whatever it was. Like, we want to know what the other terms were. And that is the kind of stuff that you don't usually hear about till after another house closes. So we're getting that in real time with accepted offers. We're also talking about when offers were not accepted. Although, like I said, we don't have a sad channel, although again, maybe we should. But, and when we're putting offers in, we're learning what's most effective. And this is where the listings team, so there are 4 people who work full-time on the listing side. All they do are listings. This is where the communication between the two become really important. Because on the listing side, we're seeing 5, 10, 15, 20 offers per listing. So each of those offers, we're getting to see how the sellers react to them. What are new, like, fun tricks that somebody uses that gets the sellers to, really pay attention, that pushes them up in the list of people, that maybe allows them to not just turn the dial on price, but also on other things. So we're seeing all that. And whenever we see something good, we share it with the buyers team. So when the listings is like, oh, dang, people just put this in their thing. I've never seen that before. Let's do that. Great. So then we can try it. So some of the great ideas come out of our own brains, but other ones come out of just this this shared intentional way of working as a team. And I think that that's really important because we're never going to, I know it's really important because we're also never going to, we don't, I don't know how to put this, but we're not going to push you into buying a house you don't want, obviously, or paying more than you don't want. So we will help you figure out what number it is, what's the number and the terms that you're going to feel great about if you lose it. That's really what we want to know. Like, we want to know, like, what is the absolute top of where you would go. And then if you find out the house sells for $10 more, you're going to be like, God bless, those other people could have it. I mean, $10, okay, you'd probably be bummed, but like if it was $1,000 more or $2,000 more, or you heard the other one was cash and you're not cash, you'd get it. So this is like, again, like, we're not trying to push people, but if people, like, if buyers say, I want to get this house, we can figure out the offer that will work for that. And we will figure that out in a bunch of ways that are, some of which are secret, that we're not sharing here. But suffice it to say that, like, as we get better at this, we're learning as like an organism. So then the offer gets accepted, right? So this starts to get into our relationships with other agents also, by the way. So we have to be able to have good relationships with other agents to be able to have the offer go ahead. I will say that, like, parenthetically here, everything that I'm saying, from this point on, this works for dual agency. If you see one of our listings and want to work with us, we would love to represent you as well. Technically, we're not representing you. What we would do is work as a dual agent, working with both sides of the transaction, the sellers and the buyer, to facilitate the transaction. We don't really represent either side in that case, but all the same smart stuff that we do is what we're trying to do to get both sides to come to terms and have both of them be happy. So let me just say, parenthetically, this is not the topic of the Zoom, but we love working this way. We have no problem with it. We understand what things have to be confidential. I think it's bullshit when people say, like, oh, I won't have somebody representing only me and my interests. To me, that's a lack of understanding of actual negotiation, because you have to represent anybody's interest, you have to get so in the head of the other side and figure out what's going to make them happy, what's going to make them happy, what's going to make them happy, that it is very similar to when you're just getting in the head of both sides of what's going to make everybody happy, what's going to make everybody happy. So once the offer is accepted, then we're going to introduce you to our, like, ridiculously vetted inspectors and attorneys who come on and off our list as they please or displease us. It's true. And it's like, we need to get recommendations from other agents. We need to get recommendations from clients. Most of us, most of the times with those two categories, I usually won't let them even go on the list unless one of us have used them personally. Sometimes we'll make exceptions if there's been enough other recommendations. And then if our clients start to say, hey, this person was awesome, but they haven't been replying to my calls, we just take them off the list for a bit or address it with them. If people are getting busy here, then they are doing, less well. The inspectors we find are going to be thorough. They're going to be, or that we recommend, they're going to be practical. They're going to be great communicators. And the same is true for the attorneys. Like, that's really what we're looking for. We're looking for people who are thorough, who are going to represent you and work for the buyer, like 100%. Because in this case, like, it doesn't, this isn't a negotiation. Like, either there's mold in a house or there's not. Like, that's not like, then it comes back to us for a negotiation if there is mold in the house. And then how do we get both sides? How do both sides come together after an inspection is the next big part of the process. So this is all the agent up to this point. At the accepted offer stage, though, you start to get to introduce to John Pedrito, who's here, who's our full-time transaction coordinator for the buyer side. So John, literally his job is to, we're all, and all the buyer's agents are driving around, doing all these things, doing the inspections and the appraisals and the showings, and John is at a computer, like, making sure that all of these transactions are just locked down and that everybody knows every day what is going on. Because it is really confusing, even though we don't have control over the attorneys or the banks or whatever, but, like, we know buyers need to know that and want to know that. And we know the other side wants to know that and wants to be informed. So again, we use Slack. That's what our team does. And we have a little Slack channel for each deal. And every day there's going to be an update from John saying either no update today, which is fine at certain parts of the process, or checked in with the attorney, their office sent the contract back to the sellers. We'll check in again to see if sellers have signed it in 2 days. So that's what we're seeing at any time. So as the agent can be out there totally focused on helping you define your needs, look for houses, show houses, and negotiate and problem solve. And all the super practical stuff is just pretty seamless. So that goes all the way to closing. And then when we get to closing, like then you guys, I think I said this in my Instagram post, but you kind of become like part of our family. If you need help with something, you're going to call us. We're going to invite you to events once we get more organized and have more events. Now it's post-COVID. If you have a short-term rental that you're going to be Airbnb-ing your place, you need us to help boost that. Of course, we're going to do that. We're going to do whatever we can to get you as settled and as happy as possible here forever. Like this is what we live for. We love this area. We love being here. We know that it can be really challenging not to know which private trash service to deal with. That's why we created also the app, the Upstate Curious app, by the way, is because that was like, because we realized that our answers were still limited to our networks. And if we could just crowdsource all that stuff and people who were moving here or thinking about moving here could write something either that we can't answer, by the way, like I want to find the best school district for my kids. We can't answer that. I want to find like a queer friendly town. Can't really answer that. I want to find like there's all these fair housing things that we can't answer that you could ask other people who live here on Upstate Curious. And then once you're here, you could be like, I need someone to repoint my chimney. Who knows somebody who works in this town? And then we have a huge network of people and everybody's getting answered. If you cannot find an answer there, or if you want to write us first, we will always be there for you. So I see the kind of ethics that the agents, like it's not easy to be an agent not that it's not easy to be an agent on our team. It's not easy to become an agent on our team. Like we're very super selective about who we even talk with. And then we have weird personality business test things, the KPA, the Keller Performance Assessment that we do. And then there's, like a 3-month kind of trial period. And then there's specific training and there's all these things that go into making sure that people are the right fit. And so you can just know that you're in good hands with anybody, because also if they don't have a question, refer back to what I said about the collaborative nature of our team, they're going to ask somebody else. I do that. If I'm putting an offer in for buyer and I don't know exactly what I should do, I'll call somebody on our team, just run it by them. 2 heads are better than 1, 99% of the time, another perspective. So I've talked a lot about how that works. I know that anybody would be in good hands here. And part of the reason we're talking about this, by the way, is that we have hired a number of new buyers agents, been training them over the past few months. So we finally do have some capacity to take on new clients. So that is a big thing. And I'm just going to write the Upstate new buyers. I'm just going to write that in the link. If anybody is interested in working with the team, that link is there. But I just wanted to see if anybody else here, like maybe starting with Angelica, do you have anything that you think I've missed about why you think people should work with us?
Well, I think we should point out that all of these things that we do, other real estate agents don't do, just in case that's not clear, that like our transaction coordinator, that's pretty much unique to our team. I mean, maybe there's one other agent I've met that has someone in that capacity, but that helps our deals run super smoothly and we get to closing as quick and painlessly as possible. Thanks to John. And even talking to each other, like at other brokerages, pretty much every other brokerage up here, it's super competitive. Agents don't talk to each other. They all think they're stealing each other's clients. Like no one's helping anyone. And on our team, we're all working together, helping each other all the time. And I mean, I think it's just reflected in the number of accepted offers that we get, like how well we understand this market, because we're winning multiple offer situations every single week, many of them.
And our average, the last time I checked, was 50%. offers accepted, which is still amazing considering that most houses will have 10 offers in on it, so even 50% would be good. But because of the 4 out of 4 weekend we just had this weekend, we may have increased our average. We'll have to keep looking at that. But also like these are the anecdotes. It's like you guys this weekend beat a cash offer, right? With a finance offer.
I do it all the time.
This is it. We're positive. Like, I would say that we're both positive and realistic. So we'll also say directly when we think that you want something that isn't possible. So if someone's like, I would like a 3,000 square foot home with a pool in Woodstock for $350,000 that needs no work, it'll be like, yeah, that's like not possible. So what can we work on that might be possible? Like, let's talk about that. But like within your actual parameters, I think we are pretty bold in terms of we don't like take no for an answer super easily, just in terms of even like looking for things that's like seem kind of impossible. So I think that's awesome. And I think that, Angelica has now, his trainings for all the buyer's agent where everybody's getting together once a week. And it's just like, well, another part of our happy channel that I love is that if anybody ever sees each other out in the wild, because we're all live everywhere else, like we post a little picture of it. So Monica and Jessica, who's driving around right now, they had lunch yesterday in Cornwall. And it's like, post a little picture of it. Lee and I saw each other at like Lovebird in Accord, and Billy and Angelica and Brian went to Huckleberry in Newport. So it's like, it's like, that atmosphere goes through to our clients. Like we don't want to be stressed. Like we're not here to live a life that's like full of stress. And we're not like, we're going to crush the competition. We are a little bit like that. I'm a little bit like that. I was going to say, like, we have a weird balance of, we actually are probably totally all truthfully like type A, super competitive people. That's true. But we are all working towards living a balanced and happy life and acknowledge that as the goal. So we're not going to we're not going to win. We're going to try and find a way to make it work. And this is a big part of Keller Williams too, I would say. Like, so it's not even just our team, but even within the office, it's mostly pretty collaborative, which is interesting. So I really love that.
And the collaboration is a big thing that no other real estate agents do also. Like, you'll have an entire team to work with. So like, you'll never not be able to see a house. Sorry, my cat.
Yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing, the collaboration piece with the team, aside from the fact that I don't know anyone else who is sharing the gems that we're finding. People like to hold those for themselves, whereas we're all trying to help each other any way we can all the time. And that also comes through when it comes to appointments, whether it's showings or inspections or meeting with a contractor at a house. If for some reason one of us can't make it, isn't available, has an emergency, or is double booked, whatever it is, we know that anyone on the team who's available will hop right in and be able to take our client and make sure that our client always has somebody there when they need it. And that's huge.
I think that's such a good point. And I think that at first people, well, at least here in this area, especially because when we started, the teams were so new, and they still are pretty new. It was sort of like, oh, am I going to not have an agent I can talk to? Am I going to be just divided among a bunch of people? And it's like, no, you're going to have an agent you can talk to. You're just going to have more people who also know exactly what's happening with your deal. And I think that one of the things that's interesting is Monica, how many transactions did you do in your first year again? Do you remember?
32 in my first year.
So 32 transactions in her first year. So that's to say way more than most agents do ever here after being experienced for a long time. So what's interesting about that is, for an agent who's as successful as Monica, she's going to be the one who's most likely to be double booked, right? So you want the agent who's super successful, because you want the one who's a total baller and is going to find you an awesome house and is going to negotiate it for you and is going to get the deal done. But that's the person who's the most likely to already have an appointment when you need to see a house that day. And that's the problem that we were trying to solve for. So it's like, that's part of it, is we want to have all of these baller agents who are all busy and who are all doing things all the time. And then like Monica said, then they can just call each other and be like, hey, or put in Slack, who can do this walkthrough for me? Who can do this?
And that is so much more pertinent in this current market than it was 12 months ago. So the idea of you have to try to come up as soon as possible might have been, okay, try to make it up by the weekend a year ago. Whereas now it's like, well, you really should try to come up today or tomorrow, or, you know, literally the soonest possible time, because most houses that are at least a little good are getting offers within the first 48 to 72 hours we're seeing. So having other people available to be able to get you into a house right now when it is so important to move quickly is even more valuable.
And even making sure that you do the inspection as quickly as possible, and all of those things that we don't like. So when somebody tells us when there's an inspection, a closing, or an appraisal, they don't ask us our schedule. We don't tell them our schedule, because our schedules do not matter. Does it work for the client, the appraiser, the inspector, the attorneys, whatever? We're going to make it work as a team. And that's pretty great. So if a client's like, okay, I'm going to see I have to do the inspection Thursday at 3:00. And you're like, I'm booked that whole day. Amazing. No problem. We're going to have another agent who is amazing, who's going to go there, and you're still going to talk about it with your agent. But you're going to have another pair of eyes, and that agent, like, and we know how to do this. Like, we know how to be like, if something happens at the inspection that looks weird, take a video of it. Give me a call while you're there. Like, let's talk it over. I will call the inspector later. Like, there's like 15 things that we have learned to do if you ever cover for somebody. So I'm not worried at all. I'm really not. So it's really, I do think that's one of the best things. So,
speaking of inspectors, I mean, that just reminds me that we have all these really great established relationships with vendors, including inspectors and attorneys, and even other agents, like listing agents, who are going to like look very favorably upon offers that we submit, because they know, like, they've done deals with us before. They know it's going to be smooth and awesome, and like we're easy to deal with and super organized, and that can push your offer over the edge. Like, I've had at least one offer accepted because the agent liked working with me, you know, and that was a financing offer that beat a cash offer. So,
and that's real. That sounds like it couldn't be real. But the truth is that like what a seller considers is what is the price, like what are the terms of the offer, and part of the terms is also kind of like what agent is the person working with.
How likely are we to get to the closing table?
Exactly. Highest and best. And I always say best is the best chance of getting to the closing table. And if you have an unorganized person on the other end, it makes the entire process frustrating, and it's already so stressful for the buyers and the sellers. This is a huge thing, and adding more stress sometimes can actually break a deal up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think that, okay, and so I would say that's another thing then that I would mention, is that like we look at problems as our job, not as like an aberration, not as an annoyance that's like keeping us from a smooth deal. Like our job, and this is part of why we have it specialized the way we do, or the job of the buyer's agent is to solve problems. It's not like the job of the buyer's agent is to find an amazing house, get it locked down, and then like sit back and get pissed off if something comes up. Like that's actually where I think we probably really shine, and we don't even talk about so much as a team, because that's where I've seen us hold deals together. Not always, you can't always hold every deal together, but come up with creative solutions. Like, how could we make this work? And that's also where talking to each other really helps. And being able to be like, I don't know, like this just happened and this is blah, blah, blah. And that's what I was saying. We kind of get to be a little bit like, certainly never going to push our clients, but if we're going to keep thinking beyond like, this looks challenging, so let's just call it, we're going to think creatively. And there was something else you said, Monica, there about the stress, right? So we 100% acknowledge that this is stressful, and there are points of stress, and there will be buyer's remorse at different points in the process. We know that, and we plan for it, and we and not like in necessarily a super formal way, but when you call us freaking out, like crying, we're not going to be like, oh my God, this person hates the house. We'll just be like, oh, right. We're about to go to contract. Yep. So this happens with almost everybody. like, let's think back to when we were there. Let's like get off the ledge. Let's do that. Like we like a huge part of our job that's not the practical real estate side thing is just to be there for our clients. Really, is just to listen and to be there and to like help absorb. Like I talk about it, like this job has maybe become much more like Teflon in terms of dealing with stuff, and there's stuff. This is, buying a home brings up all the things, money, possibly relationships, how you present yourself to the outside world, maybe your own family stuff. Like it brings up all of the things. So we're used to that too, and again, we don't see that as not part of our jobs. We see that as part of our jobs to make it like, we're just going to get through this thing together. And that's where sometimes like, I don't know, I feel like those little things like stopping and getting lunch together if you're, if there's time for showings, or like cracking up about something, or like texting something funny to each other. Those are the kind of things that I think keep the transaction sane feeling like a little bit more. So, and that's, we're very, this is probably patently obvious, but we're obviously very informal. We are not going to show up at your appointment wearing suits and high heel shoes. And I don't even I don't even know how formal people dress. I'm like, I think I just described Pretty Woman, but whatever. But we're, this is just who we are. So like, it's like smart people who really like what we do and want to be better at it all the time and want to keep learning about it. And we don't need to be extra formal. I'm not saying we're going to be like wildly inappropriate, except for possibly me, but. All right. Anyone else have any does anyone have any questions or anything? Do you want to challenge us and be like, I call bullshit, you guys are not the best to work with? No, just kidding.
I'll also add that there are no other real estate agents anywhere who get any kind of training when they become a real estate agent. Like on our team, we have structured, formalized training and like teach new agents real stuff. Like when you take your real estate exam, it's just like you memorize a bunch of stuff about different types of deeds. It has nothing to do with real estate and actually functioning in the real world. So, and typically when you join a brokerage, it's like you just get thrown into the deep end. It's like, here, go build a business, figure it all out on your own.
And you're having to figure out so much stuff. You're having to figure out how to generate leads, how to list homes, how to sell homes, how to do all of that stuff like simultaneously. And brokerages do have most of them have some training programs, but what we're talking about where you are like, you're going to shadow somebody for like 20 houses before you do it on your own. And then you're going to shadow this part of the process. And then we're going to watch you doing that part of the process and give feedback. And then we're going to all give feedback to each other at all times. And just even like Monica and I totally dork out about like what real estate podcasts we're listening to. We also have a Things We Are Learning channel on Slack.
Yeah, I think that the amount of experience that an agent on our team gets in, let's say, the first 90 days is probably equivalent to a normal agent's first year.
Brian, how many deals do you have?
Yeah, Brian has what, like 10 deals happening? Oh, he's on mute. He's probably driving. I think I did like 11 deals my first year and I felt pretty good about that. So, Monica, if you think about it, like for me to get to where you were, it would have been 3 years.
Yeah, and but I had you.
Well, that's the thing. So, and I would have been figuring everything out myself too. So that's the other thing. So it's like, it's not only that, but like everything I did, because I tell you, the other thing that we do is we do share things that we mess up where we're like, oh shit, I did this in this offer and that like went over like a lead balloon, or like I showed this client this and whatever. Like we share those things too. Because also the market's changing and, everything keeps changing. And so it's like, how do we, what are we learning at all times where we may need to adjust what we're doing? But I think that's really real. Like I was thinking about that the other day with, it's like we don't have the only way, I know what I was going to say, the only way basically that you normally learn almost anything in life. Not always, some places have some training programs for some things, but is that you make mistakes and then you like learn from your mistakes and you kind of get better. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you learn from your mistakes just because you make them. So that's, you know, that's really part of the process, is that because we're talking about it and everybody is talking, you know, we're thinking about it. And this is where that word like intentional and curious comes up. So it's like, my last 4 offers didn't get accepted. Am I doing, like, is there something I'm doing? Like, is it just random? Like, let me look at the letters. Let me look at how I interacted with the agent. Let me talk to somebody about it.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, we do it on a weekly basis, check in on how things are going, like what happened that week. You know, do we need to do anything differently? Are things going well? How do we feel about our business life this week? You know, that's happening. Those check-ins are happening on a regular basis. And just to like brag for a second, Lee has been licensed for like 90 days and has 12 deals. Brian has been licensed for like 60 days and has 9 deals. So there are no agents on other brokerages in their first 3 months who do that kind of volume.
And I would send either of those guys out with one of my friends tomorrow. 100% all day long. And that is, by the way, that is our actual litmus test. So that is our litmus test, is that we have to, like, one of the questions we ask ourselves is leadership, whatever, is like, you know, would we feel comfortable as when somebody's going from training to like representing buyers on their own? Would it be okay if like our best friend came up? And if we say no, then they're not ready yet. That's the truth. But part of being ready is like, you don't have to know everything. You can't know everything right away, right? But it's like knowing that that person will ask questions.
Yeah.
That's it. So, I mean, I'm convinced. I'll work with us.
Wait, Megan, how many total sides do we have for 2021?
I will tell you in a moment. We have for 2021.
I have 33.
Yeah, 2021 closed and pending deals is 119. So that's to give a sense of the volume, like 119 deals that are closed or pending for this year already. And that means that for 119 deals, we have probably seen on the list, you know, between the listing side and the buying side, let's say 500 different offers. You know, I mean, that is probably accurate, because like maybe for every, you know, 2 offers you put in, you get 1 offer on the buy side. The listing side, for every 1 offer that's accepted, we probably saw 10 offers. So we're seeing stuff all the time, and that is how we get better. We're seeing how agents present their emails. We see if agents call us or don't call us. We see what are the things, again, that work with the sellers. That's it. And then we feed that right back to the buyers team. So it's good. It's pretty good. So if nobody has anything else that they want to say, you know, I would just say, like I said, we are able to take on some more folks at this point. It is still a pretty, you know, still is a seller's market very much so. So it's like, if you're looking for something really specific, it may take a minute, which is also part of why we can take on some more folks, because every one of these people on this call have a bunch of people who are looking for specific things where, you know, the unicorn house may come up in 2 months. And then if you ever want to see a home, like if you're ever like, this is the one, can you show it to me tomorrow? We will always find a way to make that happen. And if you're ever like, I need to find a home within the next 2 weeks, like here's my criteria, of course we're going to make that happen too. All of that works. All of it works.
Or if you have no idea what you really want.
Or if you have no idea what you really want, or you're just starting the process.
We're very good at figuring out what kind of house you're going to buy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Even if you don't know it.
I know, we're like house psychics. It's very fun. I love it. I love that part of the process. So
Billy Golan always says we're matchmakers. We're not.
Oh my God, Billy. I love that, for people's and their beloved homes. It's true. It's true. It's exactly, I mean, it's similar, because you could be like, I know he's kind of balding, but like, you know, like, look at how funny he is or whatever, you know, it's like, it's the same thing. Like, I know you said you wouldn't go out with guys under 5'6", but look, he's also a weightlifter. I don't know what the criteria are, but you know what I mean. I've been married for like 19 years. Got weird there. So anyways. On that note, hopefully we'll see some of you guys as clients. Again, anybody you land with on this team, and we do have one other agent who's not here right now, Jessica Maloney, who's also based in Sullivan County. Is there anybody else? Is there anybody else who's
Hillary is.
Oh, and Hillary. Right.
in
Oh,
Delaware.
Hillary in Delaware, who's not formally officially, but so we don't, you know, we didn't reveal any last names, so we're okay. And we,
Hillary.
but yeah, we're getting people. And if you know anybody who's an amazing agent who you think would fit our vibe, we probably could use some someday soon buyers agents who are like in the far eastern part of like Dutchess and Putnam and Columbia counties. Like, let's get over to like the Connecticut, Massachusetts borders. That would be helpful. All right. Thank you all for listening, and hopefully, and thank you guys for being here. It was so nice to see the buyers agents come out in such full force. I forgot my song. What was it? The buyers team is the best team. Buyers team is best. I like fomenting competition within the team as much as possible to motivate everyone. So the buyers team is the best team. Don't let the listing folks hear it. On that note, see y'all later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.